Yes.
Okay, so like I was saying, our first graders are very eccentric, in first grade, and the world revolves around them. Our school is a school where we have a lot of parent support, and they have all their needs met. I mean, very few kids in our school, don't really have everything they need. And so, as part of our needs and wants and family units, we start talking about how there are other kids in our community that don't have these things. And so, we like to bring in the books and do the critical questions with our text sets, and have them really kind of think a little deeper about what is the author saying, what is the message in this book, whose voice are you hearing, whose voice are you not hearing, and really have them start really thinking a little deeper at a little higher level about the text that we're reading to them. And so, we said there are kids in our community at your age who don't even have like hats and stuff. I mean, in the winter time, they don't have all their clothes that they need for winter. And when we read A New Coat for Anna, it's about a little girl growing up in World War II, probably, who doesn't have a coat for winter. And so her mom gives away all the wants that they had in their lives to be able to buy the materials to make her a coat, because that was a need. And so we start talking about that and brainstorming with our kids about what can we do, how can we help, you're first grade, you're 6 and 7 years old, but you can make a difference in our community, so what could we do? And so we kind of, do a little brainstorming, get some ideas going, and came up with making hats and scarves for the kids. So we decided to just research and find out how, who knows how to knit? Well, no one, so it's like, so what can we do? So we realized, there's looms we could do. We could learn how to do looms. There's no-sew fleece scarves they could do using the measurement and all that stuff, that to tie into the core curriculum. And so we just did a lot of that, a lot of research. We chose the size of looms. We talked about how big should the hats be, what, for a child. So we picked 2 different sizes, a medium and a small, and then they chose kind of the materials they wanted, the colors they wanted, and then they just took turns making hats and scarves for about a couple of months doing that, right? And I hope I didn't step on anything.
Oh, that's okay. We talked a lot about different focuses. We started talking with about families, what do families look like, who lives in your home, and what constitutes your family, and how they're different. We could have a family of just a mom and a child, or a dad and a child, or even your grandparents could live in your home, and so and how that changes the needs and how things are met within the family. And so we talked about that, and then we talked about needs and wants. With going over The New Coat for Anna, we read that story. Comes from the voice of the child. Another book we read that was the voice of the child was A Chair for My Mother, and looking at a mother and a grandmother and a child that lives together, and they had a house fire and lost everything. And so it was the mom and the child working together to collect all the tips to earn enough money to get a comfortable chair, because they only had a dining table set. And so the mom would work long days and didn't have anything comfortable to sit in at the end of the day. So how, everybody should have a chair, and, look at, we take for granted certain things sometimes. And so it's, a lot of the kids related well to that, like, oh, I didn't realize that some people don't have the things that I take for granted. So we had a lot of good discussions within our classrooms just by reading these books and asking questions. What do you think about this? Seeing it from their point of view. And some kids had some experiences that as people move in and out of our community and our school, the dynamic changes. And so some kids have had experience with, not having a whole lot, where most of their peers have everything they need.
Creating the hats, you can see here that we've used a lot of different strategies for making scarves and hats with the loom. Around the front, and if they weren't holding it taut, it would unravel, and all of their work would just come right off. So it was this big process of working together as a team, and it was something that I know my students with at first. It was a frustrating thing, and having to take turns looping it and someone pulling it over and doing that process. And it was something that after all the hats that we created, they were able to do it independently. And it was something that they were coming home, they were coming back to school on Monday, saying that we bought a loom over the weekend and that we've been making hats at home. I had parents bringing them in too, like what we did. It was just a really big skill that they learned and that they were able to share with their family too. And we also a unit of Unifix cubes to measure and iterate the size in which they need to cut so that they have the right size strip. So that when they tie it, it's not too thick or it's not too thin that it'll rip and tear further. So there was a lot of practice with measurement.
And then we also incorporated writing, so the kids.
So some of them are set, so inside each baggie had a hat and a scarf, or just a hat, and then the letters.
And then a letter from the student who made it, and talking about how they made it, and and then it was really fun getting all of our thank you letters back from individual students. So we thought about if we did it, when we do it next year, starting it a little bit earlier, and maybe finding out which students at which schools need, and maybe turning it into a pen pal where the kids can get to know that student's needs and wants and their favorite color, and being able to provide them with a hat and scarf a lot sooner, and then maybe by the end of the year being able to meet up with them at some point.
Make it more of a year-long
Yes.
project instead of just a couple, 2 months. Because it's fun. They didn't want to stop. They wanted to keep going, and so we were just thinking of how we could just make it extend it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing that they enjoyed it that much. How hard was it to get them to actually do that? Because it seems difficult to me.
They worked together, and they kind of helped each other. And I know we had some parents that would help. And I know one of my parents commented and said, "This is what 6th graders usually do." And you guys are doing this, and you're in 1st grade. And she was very impressed at the way they did it.
So they were
And I
able
had
to.
students that were really good that would just go and help up, and teach the other kids. So they kind of, took on that role of mentor. Yeah, and so they'd walk around and help the other kids who were maybe struggling a little bit. So you just saw a lot of things come out of the kids that, their strengths and their talents and their leadership skills and just come out during that time. They're
Even finding what's comfortable for them.
Uh-huh.
The way that I held the loom was different than the way some of my kids would. Like some of them would balance it, and I hope there was just a lot of different strategies that they learned to make it more comfortable for them.
All of them got addicted,
Yeah.
including us.
Oh, they wanted.
When
We would stay in at recess with a table full of kids and just loom.
it was the best thing ever.
It was so fun. Well, they just and it taught them how to work together so well. And when I did the blankets last year, that's what I saw. Kids who didn't always get along in the classroom, or weren't always the nicest to one another, were working together so well. And the conversation, when they were talking about who they were making these for, why they were doing it, how it was making them feel. It was just like changed the whole dynamics of the classroom and the whole whole culture of the classroom with them helping each other. So that, I think, to me again is always one of the most rewarding things to see is how it changes my children.
It was really cool to see their reactions to, the letters from the recipients. It was cool to see that. Hey, it really did go to a kid.
Yeah, it's a real person.
Just like me, and
Wow. One of the.
sometimes they didn't really believe it was going to a real person or something.
They saw your letters. One of the things that we struggled with sometimes with this kind of project was how to really get those who received it to feel like they gave back as much as they got. Not this sense of, here I am at Trailwinds and I can give this to you at Horizon Elementary because did you
talk about that? Or?
In our school, our principal reads to the students all the time. Is it to fill a bucket?
Yeah. Have you
And
filled
the bucket
the
filler
bucket
and
today? Yeah.
how when you do good things, how it fills your own bucket. And so, yeah, at the
And
end,
they'll pay it forward, by having something good done to them. Maybe they can, in whatever limited way they can do it, maybe they can do something for somebody else. So,
And I think one of my kids journaled that they they felt like they had filled someone's bucket, which in turn made them feel good. I don't know. I don't think. Did any of your kids feel like that? I mean,
I think they were really excited to do it.
I just
think
think
even seeing like that amount of a finished product, like that's just so encouraging to see this is what we did. Like as a first grade team, we did this for someone else.
and to see the pictures back, which we couldn't share in our presentation, but that the other schools had sent us of the kids wearing. And
Nice.
how excited
so
they were, and for our kids to see.
And they wrote letters of thank you that we put up here. I mean, we got so many, and some were. One was translated.
One was in Turkish, and so then it was translated on the back by a translator of what the little girl said, because she'd only been in the country like 2 months. And a lot of them said, now I can stay warm this winter, and so it made the kids realize that this is why we did it, because they really didn't have what they needed to be warm. And so I think it made it more real for them to actually see the letters and see the pictures.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And it is a good group of kids. I mean, they are pretty nice kids and pretty giving kids, I think, overall. So that's why we always hope that this is just planting that seed that will carry on.
And I was telling the group that we were with over here, our principal wanted every grade level to do some type of service, and so this was ours. And other grade levels did a canned food drive and got over 1,600 cans of food. And I don't know what the other. And the second
One's
grade
planting
they're
a
gonna do
garden
gardens.
and giving it to the next year's classrooms or whatever, or something like that. Yeah, probably the
So
food
I
bank.
think that if it were to, I think if the whole school was invested in it, it would really make a big difference.
Right, and it would carry each year with getting some different perspective, like a different service learning project that gave them maybe a deeper understanding than they got from the previous
Well,
year.
and impact what they can do, how they can impact the community, each time. And we thought about having these guys come back, if we do this next year, if we do the same project, have them come back and teach the new first graders how to do it.
What a great idea.
And so they still stay involved with, being involved with it, in some aspect.
Wow. It would probably be mayhem to have your kids go teach kids at another school how to do it, wouldn't it? First
I
grade.
guess if you chose a group that,
Or, when we met up with the students in the spring, they could show that child
Now, when they're-
how they made it.
that would
And especially the more that we did it, if we could have enough classroom sets, because we really, we had yarn donated.
Oh, we had so
These
much
are
donated.
expensive buying to start out with, but every year if you buy 7 of them,
and it came in so under budget because
or
we had
maybe
so
they
much
could
donated.
they
Parents
could
donated
donate a
so
loom
much,
to that child and teach that child how to make their own hat and scarf.
Yeah, because these, you can make a scarf on the round loom too. You just go back and forth through on top of it, so it's pretty versatile.
So awesome. I'd love to see the first grade teachers impacting the school, setting a precedent for the others.
It's fun to teach them that they are powerful in themselves. Like, you are 6 or 7 and you're little, but when you work hard and you work with
together,
others, then you can do cool things,
And hard things that you maybe didn't think you could.